If you see me looking clean cut, matching from head to toe, dipping with a mean strut, throwing them blowing green.
Hello and welcome to episode 33 of Dial H For Heroclix. I am your host, Hunter Smith. With me today is Mr. Austin Smith, and the man who gets more play than a free Pac-Man machine, Mr. Drew Alderson. How you doing today, Drew?
How we doing? Free Pac-Man machine, that'd be the shit, dude. Man.
Today we're going to be talking about the player's guide. We're going to go over the changes that have been set in place. I guess it came out last week right before we recorded, but we already had all our stuff ironed out. This is a topic that a lot of you guys have been requesting for us to cover. I actually hadn't really initially planned on covering it, but since so many people were asking us to go over it, we'll go ahead and do that. And as we go over it, we'll recap the change only on the main topics, not every little detail, because the thing is really long, and kind of give our thoughts on gameplay-wise, if we like it or not. Comics-wise, we're going to be talking about the new Marvel Now Black Widow series, and then we have some Days of Future Past spoilers and some Yu-Gi-Oh! Spoilers. Let's move into news first, and let's start with the fact that a mass media, or what do they call it whenever, mass market exclusives set has been confirmed for Winter Soldier.
So I think we already knew that.
Yeah, but so we officially know that. So there'll be a Target chase. It'll be very similar to Iron Man 3.
Yeah, there's two chases, one for Target, one for
Iron Man 3 and Thor 2.
Now I'm hoping it's the same quality of Iron Man 3, where we get a lot of really good figures out of it. Because honestly, some of the they didn't show dials, but they showed some point costs and stuff. They're looking like cheaper figures. I'm kind of hoping they do continue the pattern of solid figures in these cinematic sets, because
there's bound to be some good ones. They don't make caps without it being really, really stupidly good.
True. Ricky, if you're listening.
A Mordrew LE has been confirmed for the Legion of Superheroes OP kit. We already kind of expected that.
They said that in the
on the card
the preview.
of the other Mordrew. There has been a Mystique spoiled that we will talk about here. Let's bring Mystique up. She's from Days of Future Past.
Yep.
And sorry, I thought I had her pulled up. There she is. The sculpt is kind of half and half. It's her as a human and her as her usual, what she always looks like self. Brotherhood of Mutants keyword, spy keyword, Freedom Force keyword. I wonder if that'll be a sub-theme for this set.
Yeah, I think it is.
82 points. How much was the last Mystique? Wasn't she 82 as well? Or 81 or so?
She was really cheap.
She's right around that area.
Yeah.
And a very similar trait to the GSX one. She can use Shape Change. When she does and rolls a 6, opposing characters can attack her this turn.
Which is pretty insane.
She has Stealth on top of that. And then a special defense power. She can use Mastermind and Toughness. May transfer damage to a friendly character with a higher point value that she shares a keyword with. And when she does, that character ignores one of the damage dealt after damage is reduced. God dang.
Now, I do want to state, because a lot of people have been misreading this and saying it, this will not work with Blob in multiple ways, because for one, Blob's too high point value to Mastermind on 2, and 2, you can't double ignore stuff.
Well, it says she can with the higher if it shares keyword, so she couldn't Blob.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blob couldn't choose that plus his effect at the same time.
Because that would be broken.
Yeah. Other than that, she has special damage power, leadership, and perplex. I like this style.
It's pretty good.
For 82 points, she's good value.
6 range precision strike. Basically, all it is a slight update to the GSX style. It's extremely similar to the GSX style, except maybe slightly better.
We need more figures like this, because she isn't oversaturated with running shot and a bunch of other stuff. She's a good dial.
What I like about this one more than the GSX one is the GSX one has a lot of blades.
Yeah.
Even though it wants to stay away and stay stealth and stay hidden, it has a lot of blades, whereas this one has precision strike, which is good long range or
this is a work from the shadows kind of figure.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm going to laugh at, though, is her defense power is called Leader of the Brotherhood and doesn't have leadership in it. It has Mastermind instead.
Yeah. Well, she does have honor damage, though.
Oh, she does?
Magneto taught me well leadership and perplex.
Okay.
Later dial, she gets just perplex or just outwit, and then she gets some shape change, or some, sidestep in there, too, and some willpower. I like that dial a lot.
I do, too.
Next, we have one Blade Knight from
I love these
Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. These guys are 82 points as well, I think. Man, it's taking forever to pull up. There he goes. Yeah, 82 points. Cool trait. Another Seto Kaiba piece, Drew.
Yeah.
If Blade Knight is the only friendly character on the map, mod is values by +1, and if he can use toughness, he can use invul instead.
Which that's a pretty cool thing, because if, let's say for instance, well, here's a rules question. If someone outwits his toughness and he has a hammer granting toughness, couldn't he technically use toughness so he'd be able to use invul instead?
Correct. But typically if you outwit his toughness, he wouldn't be able to use it.
Yeah, on normal occasions if you outwit yeah. Because then he couldn't use it. So
it just says if he can use it. Doesn't say possess. So, yeah, a hammer would give him basically permanent invulnerability. I like the dial quite a bit. I like the pacing of it. It's got It's got sidestep blades, toughness, then 4 clicks of charge. Either blades or exploit on every click.
Yeah, I
never had blades exploit.
I know. I think that was a definite decision on their part, though.
Yeah.
Because I think blades exploit is worth a lot. You know,
I like the dial. It's not amazing, but
what I like
especially
about
for Yu-Gi-Oh.
his pacing though is since he starts with sidestep in the full movement, he's the kind of piece you want to throw straight into it and do a full movement into action.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he has a 12 movement front dial with no movement attack. So you want to just move him in, tie up, or like if you have a couple of them or whatever.
Yeah.
And then your opponent kind of has to kill him first regardless, because if they don't, he's the last one left. All of a sudden, he becomes worth so much more.
Although I guess his toughness and invul swap, that would only count if he's the last character.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, because there's not a period.
Yeah,
it's not 2 separate sentences. One sentence I hadn't noticed that before.
And the other thing with him is because of the wording on it, you can't use multiple of them and expect to get the values. It's when a figure refers to just its own name, it means that specific figure.
Next up is big man Validus.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Let's let Drew talk about Validus.
Alright, Validus is insane. I don't know who designed this guy, but they clearly need to rethink their design, values. Okay, Validus can be played at 249 or 175. At both point values, he's got Indom, he's giant, and he's got 8 ranged. 8 range. He's got Calculator.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
He's got an amazing set of... he's got a lot of keywords. Brute, Fatal 5, Future, Legion of Supervillains, and Monster. His thing that makes him stupid is his trait. Validus can use Super Strength and can't be targeted by Penetrating Psychic Blast.
Is that all true, or is there more?
No, there's more. At the beginning of your turn, roll a d6 on the result of a 4 to 6. So, 50%.
Wait, what's that, Drew? There's a lack of that can't be re-rolled on there.
Shut up. And what is he? He's giant size, so chances are you can see him. Validus can immediately use Pulse Wave as a free action with a lock damage value of 2, ignoring friendly characters.
God dang it, Drew.
We're going to blow the mic again this week.
I'm turning him down already. That's the quickest he's ever been turned down before.
This is Drew. He never gets turned down.
So,
listen,
what do you think about the point values? Because honestly, I like them both. I like both.
They're both ridiculous.
I like them at either value.
But they're both different dials.
Yep.
The front-loaded one's a melee dial with like charge, quake, and all that, and then the back one's running shot with the attack power.
I almost like the cheaper one better.
Oh, I definitely. Yeah. I'm big on the cheaper one because the cheaper one the attack power combos with his trait.
Yeah.
Which, why don't you tell us about that brilliant attack power, Drewster?
Validus can use Penetrating Psychic Blast, so he can use the thing he can't be targeted by. When an opposing character with an action token takes damage from Validus' attack, give that character an action token.
Jesus.
So when he pulse waves someone that already has one action token, they take another. So, because it's just when they take damage from his attack.
He's amazing.
So I like him at 175.
This is an amazing super rare. I mean, if you can't get excited for stuff like this, it's just,
Then you need some, like, clicks aggro or something.
Especially with the monster keyword, too.
God.
Oh, he has monster! Oh, God!
The only thing that sucks is you can't mind control him and let him do his trade again.
I know.
I said I was going to run freaking...
Darn!
I'm going to run 3 of these guys on Realm of Death and just walk at the half dials and just walk down the hallway, pulse wave, pulse wave.
Can you imagine having, like, 5 mole men surrounding the base of him, just making him pulse wave each turn without worrying about having to get pulse wave? That'd be so stupid.
So, he can't be targeted by Pinsai, so that means they have to come to him. And when they do come to him, he can't just pulse wave jism all over them.
Jesus Christ.
He's stupid.
We got some pictures from Toy Fair, namely showing us that Validus is almost 3 times taller than all the other Heroclix in the booster.
Fucking huge.
He's barely going to fit in the booster. If you think about it, I mean, looking at the size of him, and I will post
He's literally
these,
next to a booster right there. He's barely going to fit in there.
I will post these on the on our Podbean site and in the details of all the other places that we usually post these podcasts. But in these pictures, you can see a picture of Validus, and I gotta imagine if you're holding the booster in your hand and you squeeze it, you could tell that he's in there. Like, that's how big he is.
Mr. Miracle, that's Mr. Miracle right there, too, and he's got a pretty hefty size sculpt.
Yep, and he's over 2 times taller.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
He's bigger than Titanium Man, and Titanium Man's huge.
Supposedly there's going to be a few giants in there, though, so you won't always know that it's Validus.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 giants in the set.
Giganta's pretty big.
Mordrew.
Mordrew, yeah, that's the other one. We got some more images that showed... Now, one of these images, we've already spoiled all of these except Colossus. I don't think we spoiled that Colossus yet.
Colossus, the new Wolverine.
Oh, yeah, and the other Wolverine.
And that Storm, I don't think we've talked about, have we?
The Storm, I think we saw a picture of, but we haven't seen a dial for, I don't think.
Pyro's there.
Because that's normal haircut Storm. We've seen the one with the mohawk, too.
And then Pyro and Sentinel, they already spoiled the dials for. Now, Deadpool is really, really good.
This picture is lacking something, though, Hunter.
What's it lacking?
You're not looking at the most updated one. The last day they put Thorpool out there.
Oh, I got it. Well, I did have a picture of him too. Thorpool is in there. I'm curious if he'll be a chase or not.
Is that a new ghost?
There, it looks like it, doesn't it?
I guess the ghost in Invincible Iron Man was pretty mess, so I'm kind of excited to get a cool one.
We especially have an X-Force Suits X-23 Wolverine duo, which is amazing. Dr. Bong, we already knew. Deadpool and Bob.
We already knew
duo.
too. That one's pretty sweet.
And who is that in the front?
I can't remember. They posted his name.
I'm not sure who that is. Looking at him.
Scroll down to comments. Maybe some of the Speed Demon.
Oh, duh. From Superior Foes.
Oh, shit.
You know, wouldn't it be amazing if they did that as a sub-theme and just did all of them? I mean, I don't get your hopes up, but that would be awesome.
Yeah, we were talking about we were hoping for a Weapon X sub-theme in this for like Agent Zero was what we were talking about today.
This would be the
and Sabretooth and some other ones. And then Return of the King's information. You want to talk about that, Austin?
So Return of the King got the retailer statements about the gravity feed got posted. There's 11 commons, 10 uncommons, 8 rares, 2 chases. Do I really want to explain why I'm very unhappy with this?
That there's no super boosters?
No. Besides that, the fact that there's almost an equivalent amount of commons, uncommons, and rares.
11 commons.
I mean, it's not great, but we've seen worse.
That's true.
And since it's Lord of the Rings, a lot of those commons are probably going to be generics.
Yeah, that's true.
But, no, not that it's not bad, because it is, but we've seen worse freaking distribution.
Not that it's terrible, but it is.
Iron Man was worse.
The OP kit's kind of crazy, though.
OP kit, 6 LEs, 3 copies of 2 figures.
Wow.
10 special objects.
2 objects, 5
2 different... Each. Yeah, 2 different objects, 72 Horde tokens. So your typical Lord of the
standard
Rings
OP
kit.
I'm sorry, I read the 6 figures and flipped out.
Other than that, it's pretty much what you expect. It's going to be... It's not going to be like 2 Towers.
It'll be more like Fellowship.
It'll be more like Fellowship and like Desolation of Smog size as far as packaging.
It's
and
just a straightforward Lord of the Rings
this is
no gimmick.
This is slightly better than Desolation of Smog.
Smog was a pretty small set, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I mean distribution-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Because distribution had like the same amount of rares as it did uncommons.
That's retarded.
Yeah, it was kind of stupid. So that's about it for news. Moving on to what we played. Wednesday we had our Escalation League, where you do 3 straight months, 400, 600, and 800. And in each month you take the same initial team that you had in month 1, but you add 200 points to it. And it has to be a name-themed team. And I do Sinister Syndicate. Drew does Brotherhood.
Brotherhood of Mutants.
Austin does Masters of Evil. I'll go through mine real quick. I added on Green Goblin from M10, the Running Shot Energy Explosion one. and I added on Mysterio, simply because he was like the only one that fit the points. I really don't like that Mysterio that much, to be honest. I think he's kind of crap for his points. Unless you're playing a ton of them, and even when you are playing a ton of them, I still don't think they're that good.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, I have the typical one: Vulture, Kraven, Shocker, Electro, Lizard, of course, because Lizard and Kraven and the Lion plus the book. Every time I play them, I think of new little tricks and nuances that make them even more dumb.
How much damage did you get out of the Lion alone this time?
Oh, so over the course of my 3 games, my Lion dealt way more damage than anybody else because he gets one free action already, which you can use to drop hammers on your other guys without putting an extra action token on anybody. Or he can just straight charge somebody, or if he's already based, he can go ahead and blades. And then you can give him a power action to go ahead and blades again, and since it's blades and it locks the damage, you don't give a crap that it's -1 damage, because since it locks it, you don't take you basically ignore it. Also, I was giving out enough hammers that everybody was getting power cosmic, so now the token can now take a second action token without dying. So effectively, every single turn, the Lion was attacking for free with blades, or I was giving him a power action and he was attacking twice. So out of 3 turns, every 3 turns, he's attacking 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
Charge blades. And I tried not to rush him up on a full health character if I could help it, that way he wouldn't die. And think about the fact that he has super senses and the hammer gives him toughness. So what I used him for was just annoying, kind of finishing people off. And then my other guys, namely Electro and Shocker and
Lizard.
Everybody else, Lizard, would go around, peg people for 3 or 4, and then the Lion would come through, charge blades, finish you off, spin the buck. Then then power action, charge over here, blades, kill that guy, spin the buck. And it was just the Lion did at least like 60 damage over the course of 3 games, easily. He did a ton just against you, Drew. Me and Drew played each other. I did really well. I had a lot of fun. I went 3-0. The only match really sticks out in my mind that was noteworthy was against my first opponent, Harry, because he had M10 Iron Man at full points, which for a book team should be almost impossible to take down, which I didn't take the Iron Man down, but I ended up winning by points on last action. I was down by about 10-15 points, and on last action I moved up Kraven, which gave Lizard a free move action, put him up behind Scarlet Witch, who was on a ledge, power actioned with Mysterio to drop a hammer on Lizard Square. He quaked, hit her for 2, knocked her off the ledge, and she took 2 more on the last action, and that was just enough clicks to kill her. So that was a very close game, and a really fun game. Austin, how did your day go that day?
So I went over my Masters of Evil team. It's an Absorbing Man Titania duo team, kind of. They start out split. Well, for the second month, I removed normal Absorbing Man, replaced him with LE, in case I needed to run the LE with Gauntlet. I just ended up merging them every game, because I never ran into a situation where I felt like I needed to. Also, it provides a good later split. Once you've merged them, you can split them back into those figures, regardless of their point values. Right? So if I start with Absorbing Man, LE, and Titania, I can split back into them.
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure I did that, or I was planning on doing that, right, if I ran into it. Then I added Grey Gargoyle and Melter. The way Absorbing Man Titania works, and the reason I like them, is they're not a shotgun alpha piece. They're a really good... They have a good high movement. With the Gauntlet, they have an additional +2 in phasing on their first turn. I'm able to get in the middle of my opponents, get them all tied up and messed with plasticity traded, of course. I can throw them off their game, and then once I've done that, I can use Crimson Cowl to TK Grey Gargoyle up next to them. And while Grey Gargoyle is keeping them from getting their tokens off, I'm just smashing people and healing freaking 1 from hitting and 2 from killing. And that's basically what I did the whole night. That Grey Gargoyle, I really, really... I knew he was good. Now that I've had a chance to play him, my last match I went against another of the duo I was playing, and he actually killed my duo. But that Grey Gargoyle's sitting there, and he's doing 4 exploits. They have 2 tokens, and even though they're Masters of Eviling, they can't do much. And he's got a good invul with like a 17 or 18. He's got 4 damage, which is penetrating if they have 2 tokens. He's got a double token in cap, and plasticity. Once you get him up in the fray, he's a monster. I really want to play him with hammers. And then the last month I'm swapping him out for Mach, because Mach reverts into him and he keeps the running shot hammer. So I'm really looking forward to trying that one out. Melter was disappointing. I will say that. If Melter does not have the keywords you're after, he's not worth his points. I had so many good opportunities to sit and shoot with him. He's a decent pin psi, I think 3, but drops into 2. He doesn't really have a lot of move and attack. If your opponent has the keywords, though, he's a monster. Like, for taking out that specific figure. The problem was none of my opponents had armor, robot, or vehicle, which aren't too rare of keywords.
I think he's namely a very good sealed piece for Iron Man, but outside of that, he's just a decent constructed piece. He's decent. He's not bad, but he's decent.
I think I would have rather replaced him with, like, Electro or somebody, or Shocker, sorry. Shocker's going in my last month.
Oh, yeah, Shocker's a beast.
Shocker's a monster.
I've been using him on my team. Drew, Brotherhood. What's your Brotherhood team? Besides, of course, GSX Magneto.
GSX Magneto, GSX Sabretooth.
Who could have guessed that one?
Austin just left the room. Toad. Scarlet Witch from Chaos War Fast Forces.
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver from Chaos War. And
Pyro
from GSX.
Which, with a running shot hammer, GSX Pyro's pretty dang nasty.
My God. Not just with a running shot hammer. Get up in Pyro's face, and then I'm going to free drop a hammer, and I'm going to do 2 penetrating quake to everyone. And yes, it is damage dealt by Pyro. All damage dealt by Pyro is penetrating damage.
Is it? Dang.
Yes.
I'll have to pull that up.
Yeah, he doesn't play. You don't play. I didn't do that great. I went 1 and 2. My first game was against Scott, who unfortunately SLOSH did not come out on time. So, yeah, he's pretty good against...
That is nice. I didn't realize that. I thought it was only his energy explosion that does penetrating damage. Even, so yeah, like Drew said, when you dropped a quake, it would do penetrating damage. And his poison at the end of his dial would do penetrating damage.
Yep, it's pretty sick.
Cool.
But yeah, I went up against Scott and he was playing Legion of...
Legion of Doom.
Legion of Doom. And unfortunately for him, SLOSH hasn't come out yet, so he didn't do so hot.
Yeah, if it wouldn't have got delayed, he would have got everything he needed.
Yeah. Second game I went up against some loser named Hunter Smith. I don't
I hear that guy's a pretty big nerd.
Yeah, all he does is play Heroclix. Anyway. He beat my ass pretty hard. I did almost kill his lizard.
Which is a rare feat. Because that lizard doesn't die with Anger's hammer.
And you might be wondering, how did you almost kill a lizard? And by golly, when you hit... There was this whole situation where Hunter didn't know what Sabretooth did.
I knew at one point, I just totally forgot. It's been so long since I played against him that I knew what I remember about Sabretooth is he's really hard to hit.
Yeah, 17 combat reflexes, super senses.
Yeah, and so...
12 attack, 3 damage.
That's all I was thinking. I completely forgot about the trait where if he hits you for 3 or more, you can't heal.
Yeah, so what I did was, he was like, why is Drew flexing damage? And I ran in, hit that lizard for 3, and I was like, hey, Hunter, you ain't healing the rest of the game.
And I was like, son of a bitch.
And then he proceeded, and his line never died.
This clever guy here.
That line never died.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, shit, well, I guess there's no point in giving my free movement to Lizard since he can't heal up now. Now I'll just let the lion go around and wreak havoc and bleeds all over the place. Plus, he hit like 5 super senses in a row.
That was such bullshit. It made me cry.
Oh, goodness.
And last round I went against some guy playing Web of Spider-Man Nightcrawler, and you know how that goes. So,
today we did Two-Headed Giant at Dugout, and I told everybody to bring 2 separate 200-point teams, Silver Age, figures only. And what I do is pair people up, of course, depending on how many people show up, depends on who all gets paired up, but I try to pair as many people up to two men versus 2 men, and you would pick one of your 200-point teams, and you play it with your partner, and you put your forces together to build a 400-point force, And then all game effects that say that they affect friendly characters will count for your partner's pieces too. So you basically Voltron, you form a team against the other 2 players in their team. And so like leadership, enhancement, and power, anything like that, anything that says it affects friendly characters counts for your partners. And this is similar, if you guys have ever played Two-Headed Giant in Magic, it's very similar to that. I thought it'd be cool to try it in Clix form, and I personally I thought it was really fun. I know a lot of people had fun. I brought some people did straight support teams. Like Drew's team is like basically all support plus Rocket Racer.
Dude, you gotta let me spoil it. God,
so
let me tell the story.
Whoever. So that way, whoever Drew gets partnered up with, he can just help out his teammate instead of just him being the focus of attention. Some people went all out. Some people went with just like one big 200-point character.
Some people played VX4 Cyclops and Jean Grey.
I just went kind of a half and half. I meant basically with 2 pulse waivers. I went with 2 pieces that I've been wanting to try that I know were pretty solid and that have good pulse wave. Because no matter what I face up against, pulse wave can handle pretty much anything.
Except Silver Centurion, which Jeremy was playing.
That's true.
But yeah, go ahead.
So I had Slate from BioShock, who we've talked about before because he's so good and because Austin used him in a couple big events and at Gen Con. And I tried him and Hobgoblin Prime from Amazing Spider-Man.
Who gets the Drew Alderson seal of approval.
So
go ahead.
I wanted to try both of them, and I fit them 2 left me 31 points. Well, what do they need? They need a little 31-point Jean Grey TK action.
God.
That Jean Grey is so freaking stupid.
No wonder
Didn't we just talk about it last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm telling you, man.
No wonder you went 3 now.
That Jean Grey is nuts. So that was my 200-point team. That way, it also gives me Barrier from Slate and his special Barrier Pulse Wave and TK to help my partners
Next
out.
time I'm going to play Validus at 175 and see what happens.
So what I could do was, for most of the game's first turn, I would let my opponent move all... I would send out a barrier, let my opponent move in behind the barrier and keep my my partner's team safe. And then second turn, I would TK out either Slate or Hobgoblin and let them do their Pulse Wave. And then my teammate could rush in without having to worry about getting hit first turn. And that worked out nicely.
And you gave opponents tokens. And
so Hobgoblin Prime is really stinking good. If he has no tokens and you do run a shot Pulse Wave with him, after he hits everybody who got hit also takes an action token. And then Slate is the one who you use Barrier with him. He has 6 range. And once you set up all the tokens, you pick one of them and you Pulse Wave from that square as if you occupied that square. So what you can do is basically with some creativity and kind of map manipulation, you can create angles to where your guys can be close, but you won't Pulse Wave them as long as you cut off certain angles. So they can both get in there and Pulse Wave, and then my teammates can come in. Or I can set up my block, let my teammates go in, hit. I can Pulse Wave and kind of keep them safe from retaliation, from getting shot back at, and still get some damage in on my opponents. It was really fun. I had last round I went up against Harry because we both had the most points and we're both undefeated, and we just did 1v1, and I kicked in my other 200-point team, which was Deadshot again from Arkham Origins and Holiday Killer. Because that's a piece that's a combo that I really wanted to try from day one when we spoiled Deadshot. I was like, ooh, you put a cheap little piece next to him to give them the 12 attack. Holiday Killer's like the prime example of that.
We'll get into that.
So, last game, that's who I played, and won that game too, went 3-0. But I really liked the 2v2 mechanic. Even the 2v1 when I had to pair people like that, or the 1v1 aspect, I liked it a lot. I think we might start doing that yearly, just do like a 2v2 event type thing every year. It was random. You didn't get to pre-playing with your partner or anything. It was based upon points and dice rolls and stuff. Austin, what was your team? I can't remember.
Today?
Yeah.
I ran 200 points of pure support. I ran 50 points Scarlet Witch, Donald Blake, Howard Stark from the Avengers movie set, and... what else did I run?
You ran
another perp. I ran Killian. But I ran the starter set Killian that gives Sharpshooter and ignores Hindering. So I knew it was going to be Two-Headed Giant today. I thought it'd be fun to run a run a support team for my buddy. Whoever I get paired with, figured I'd beef up his figures, he'd carry the game for me, and we'd go to victory together. So, round 1, I get paired with the Drewster. And you know what the Drewster ran?
Oh my god.
A support team. So you know what this team was? 5 Perplexes and Rocket Racer. And you know what Rocket Racer almost killed because of this? Phoenix 5 Cyclops. It was pretty brutal. Like, our first game, I have to get... Like, me and Drew played that game smart-ass shit. Like, I don't think... We were putting stuff in the way here and there. Like, I picked Realm of Death, of course, because what other map am I going to pick? And... we used Madam Web to block a hallway at one point and perped her up to an 18 defense or 19 defense. Made our opponents really mad.
And then when
we hit super senses when they finally hit her. It was funny because it started out with Rocket Racer, and Rocket Racer got smoked real quick after he got a good 5 hit on it.
That's because Brother Voodoo mind controlled him.
Yeah, Brother Voodoo mind controlled him.
And then they finally realized, hey, we can move Brother Voodoo in front of Phoenix 4 Cyclops. And I'm like, duh.
And then we took Aim Agent and super beefed him because Aim Agent gets enhancement off that Killian. So we had fun with this one.
Yeah.
The other matches were... I went up against Drew the second match.
Oh my gosh.
His partner had a Fury.
It was just Fury.
And then Drew had his support team. But it was kind of overextended, and my partner had Silver Samurai. So we buffed up Silver Samurai. I put Scarlet Witch in position to prob if he needed it, so I could prob his blades. He smashed Fury once, and then he smashed him again the next turn, and he was gone. And then after that, we cleaned up Rocket Racer. We just beat the shit out of that poor youngster. He didn't deserve that shit, but we gave it to him. And in the last round, I got paired up with the Brother Voodoo that kicked my ass round 1.
Poor Rocket Racer.
I got paired up with the Brother Voodoo that I was with round 1, and was up against the Silver Samurai I was with round 2. That was a fun game too. And then the other guy was playing a Batman team with that Oracle. Oh man, we smoked that Oracle. After we killed everything else, we wouldn't let him forfeit till we killed that Oracle. That was required. And so Killian went up there and he's like, I'm a 10-3 with close combat expert against a cripple in a wheelchair, and beat the living shit out of her. It was pretty bad. But, and Alfred killed freaking Brother Voodoo.
How did Alfred kill Brother Voodoo? I heard you guys say that. How does a 9 attack 1 damage?
Brother Voodoo got smoked for 3 damage or something like that by Bruce Wayne. And then Alfred kept hitting him for 1 after that. And got him and killed him. And so actually when Brother Voodoo died, we were actually kind of worried for a minute there that things might not be looking so bright for us. But we ended up pulling out the win. It was a really good team. The one thing that I didn't get to use to much effect the last game, which kind of sucked, was Aldrich Killian has a thing where opponents with armor keyword damage dealt to them can't be reduced below 1, and there's no line of fire requirements or anything. It's just opponents or when friendly characters deal damage to a character with the armor.
Oh, nice.
So I was really hoping that we'd get to use that to ping down Silver Samurai, but Brother Voodoo mind controlled him, teleported Silver Samurai into a kill box, and we wrecked him. Silver Samurai teleported out, tried to support, and we chased him down. Overall, it was really fun to play a support team with someone else. Although I felt kind of bad because I was giving orders most of the time, you should do this, and you should do this.
You weren't with me, but yeah.
I was trying not to do the same.
It was hard not to, though.
It's hard, yeah, I feel like though, since my team had TK as well, it was easy to say, hey, if you perplex my attack 2 times and let me go up and pulse wave, I'll TK your... there's a game where I was teamed up with Harry, and I was like, okay, you use your 2 perplexes on my attack, I'll go up pulse wave these guys, and then I'll TK your Batman over here into hindering, and he can get his penetrating damage bonus and melee this dude. So it's you scratch my back, I'll scratch you.
See, me and Drew's game was kind of I would come up with an idea for something, then Drew would come up with an idea for something, and we just went back and forth. My second and third games, I felt kind of bad because I didn't realize I was doing it. It's well, I would set up everything and be now you go up here, we'll do this. And I wasn't meaning to. It's just as a support team, you have to move everything into position first before you can do anything. So it's kind of weird. Also, Donald Blake's retarded. I know we say that every podcast, but I'm a staunch believer.
They were so angry at Donald Blake for
it was so funny. Donald Blake didn't even do anything in the game.
He was get Donald Blake before your alter egos. I'm yeah, look at all these alter egos
we have on the sideboard. Because I totally forgot to bring them.
Anyway.
It would have been useful in your first
That
game.
Aldrich Killian was really helpful, though. He really, because there were a few Batman teams today. There were a few stealth pieces. The fact that he makes us look straight through hindering is ridiculous. He gives Sharpshooter, too, which was great with that Scarlet Witch. Because that Scarlet Witch, the 50-point Chaos War one, has Pin Side but doesn't have Sharpshooter. So what I would do is I'd put her next to him. He could leadership her because she was at her 50-point dial. And then he would perplex her, she'd perplex herself, and then she'd blast him for like a 10-3. Which was awesome coming from a 50-point piece.
Alright, now let's tell the people what they want to hear about.
Uh-oh, what is it?
Okay, so I was drunk last night, and I was like, well, I had this running gag in my head from Gen Con about where we sat online. I was like, yeah, we should play Rocket Racer. So I was like, yeah, you know what I should do tomorrow? Because I didn't know what to do tomorrow. I was like, I should play Rocket Racer. So I played Rocket Racer. I went 0-3.
So what did we learn today, kids?
That Rocket Racer is not that bad.
For his points, he's actually really good. I'm just going to state that. It's just fun to shit on Rocket Racer because Drew had him as the only offensive piece on our team.
Which was pretty funny.
I was very upset.
Austin described our first game perfectly. It just got to the point, though, where it was
We
just...
almost went to time. Me and Drew were playing a fast game, and we almost went to time.
The only offensive pieces we had on our team were Rocket Racer and an AIM agent.
Like, Scarlet Witch and Rocket Racer dropped, immediately.
Yeah.
So, literally, it was Killian, Donald Blake, who never got to support anybody,
Yeah.
AIM Agent, and Madam Web, and those four stayed alive for,
And
35
almost
minutes
killed
of game.
Phoenix Force Cyclops.
It was great.
I was so... but then once
Poor
everything
Howard Stark.
died, they just kept taking forever.
I lost Howard Stark
Ever.
every game.
I know you did. He was the first to die.
Everyone's like, well, I don't want to sit and try to hit this guy who's been perplexed 4 times.
I'll just kill Howard
I'll just kill
Stark.
Howard Stark. Poor Howard
So
Stark.
my team was Rocket Racer. Let me tell you what, folks. Rocket Racer's pretty good. He's
Is he too legit?
He's too legit to quit. At first, I told Austin, I was like, Austin, whatever you do not perplex my attack, because that's not extreme.
So you know what I did? I perplexed his attack and said, we really need to hit something.
I was like, yeah, we really do. Because he moved his Phoenix Force Cyclops up to a predictable spot. I was like, alright, we'll go hit him. And then I noticed, I was like, why the fuck does Rocket Racer have a 6 range?
Yeah, that was great. So we're counting out I'm counting out all the movement. I'm positioning everything for the next turn so we can perp him and everything. And then Drew starts counting 3 extra. I'm like, what the hell? Why are you counting these extra squares? Where are these coming from? I'm not going to perplex your movement. And Drew's like, he's got 6 range. I'm like, oh god!
Rocket Racer rolls on to running shot penetrating psychic blast.
Yeah, where was that when we needed it?
What the hell is with this?
I don't even know who the hell he is. I'm sure he has the teen keyword.
Let's give a Wikipedia look up to good old Rocket Racer.
Rocket Racer.
And then freaking Raymond walks up and starts singing the Speed Racer song with Rocket instead. And I'm just like, this is bullcrap because this is stuck in my head.
This is the name of 2 characters in Marvel Comics.
Rocket Racer was the one that the figure is off of. Is a supervillain of Spider-Man.
He's a super villain.
His name is Robert Farrell from Brooklyn. The oldest of 7 children. His mom was a hoe, basically. He became responsible for his younger siblings when his mother died. He was a scientific prodigy, as is everybody in the Spider-Man universe back in the 60s and 70s.
He's a scientific prodigy.
When he realized he couldn't earn enough to support his family, he turned to a life of crime as Rocket Racer. He developed a super-powered skateboard, which he propelled at great speed by small rockets and cybernetically controlled by a crude Walkman-like device.
They're totally just pulling
This
the shit
is
out of
the
their ass.
90th thing I've ever seen.
He wore a weapon-equipped costume, including rocket-powered gloves, which gave him the ability to hit opponent. That's why he has the range, so he can shoot his little rocket gloves while he's zipping along.
6 range?
With penetrating psychic blast.
Austin, there's rockets on the glove.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Rockets, Austin. Oh, goodness.
This is going on the 2014 best of, I can tell you right now.
He gets shit kicked out of him by Spider-Man multiple times.
Really?
Later, he helps Spider-Man by proving that he was innocent of a crime when he's encountered by Silver Sable and the Outlaws. Oh, he does have the Outlaws keyword, I think, doesn't he? Rocket Racer?
Might be.
And then there's a new Rocket Racer in the Avengers Academy. Anyways.
Is he taken to a life of crime?
I think he rigged up a iPod, and now he has like rocket rollerblades.
That's like the 90th thing I've ever heard. He's on a skateboard, rocket-powered skateboard with a Walkman-like device.
I don't even.
Anyway.
With cybernetics. Cybernetics are typically a merging of man and machine. Why on earth would he have a cybernetic Walkman unless it's one of his little brothers turned into a Walkman?
It's a merging of man and...
How much does Rocket
technology?
How much does Rocket Racer go for? Because
money-wise?
He's in Web of Spider-Man.
Like $3.
Yeah, I was going to say he's like at least $3 or $4.
Is he Silver Ring?
No, he's not Silver Ring.
Hunter, we're going to order like 50 of them, and we're going to play a whole team.
He's $1. He's a rare.
Yeah, he's a rare.
I was thinking he was a SR.
We need to order like 50 of them and play a full team.
Yeah, he does have Outlaws. And Modoc's 11. I thought when we first said Rocket Racer, Modoc's 11 popped in my head.
That means he could use the Red Hood and the Outlaws ATA.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
You guys. So, I liked the 2v2
I loved it.
I thought it was cool.
I would like to do one where we designate a partner though the entire time. I think that'd be fun too.
Yeah,
that would be fun for like a home game thing. I don't think you can run a tournament because people are going to get left out.
Yeah,
that's the problem. That's why I
Drew.
didn't. Who wants to pair up with that guy? He's only the cutest man ever.
He only plays Rocket Racer.
Yeah,
he only brought Rocket Racer to the event.
Which, I should have got like a super amazing prize.
You should have got a fellowship prize for that.
Because, I'm the best. I don't know.
You're the best around.
Ain't nothing ever gonna bring me up. Except Rocket Racer, apparently.
So let's move actually into our new segment.
We got a new segment?
New segment called Drew's Silver Age Value Corner.
Alright.
In which, and we'll have to come up with some little theme song for you at some point too.
Lead into this.
So, Sir Drew
is
going to break down a Silver Age piece that he feels has... What is it, Drew? Value.
How would you define value?
What is the definition of value, Mr. Drew?
So, value is the exact opposite of overvalue. There you go. There's something to think about. But the more you know. Anyway. Basically, what value is...
I was really hoping you were going to say value is
it's
money.
way better for the points you're paying for it. So let's say a certain... When you pay for points, you're paying for certain things, like Indomitable, you get the
move and attack.
Move and attack. How many points is move and attack? Pieces with value are pieces that shouldn't have the shit.
Like a 60-point hypersonic piece.
Which, by the way, is not in Drew's Value Corner, but if you ever get
He's
drunk...
on the clearance shelf of a local...
He is in the back.
Baston's normal figure warehouse.
Okay, so today, ladies and gents, we're going to be talking about a set from Brave and the Bold back in 05, 06?
Before time immemorial.
Feels like it. I mean, we're going to be talking about a man who enjoys his Christmas, his New Year's, his Valentine's Day. We're going to be talking about the Holiday Killer. Hunter Smith.
What's that?
What makes the Holiday Killer so good?
I'll just...
Don't pawn this off on Hunter. This is the Drew segment.
I'll warm you up, though.
Get me warmed up.
I've used Holiday Killer now probably at least a dozen games.
I think I've used it probably 5 times now.
And I use him because he is value. For his points, he gives you ridiculous amounts of goodness. First of all, he does only have 4 clicks, but that's not a problem that you're going to be worrying about.
He's a 43.5.
Okay, Hunter.
Clicks.
43 points, and you might be saying, what am I going to get for 43 points? Normally, you'd probably get a shitty support piece that has a 5 attack and support, maybe. But with the Holiday Killer, what you get stealth his entire dial. You get outwit. With what? You might be saying, Drew, okay, come on. Outwit, 6 range outwit. Yeah, what? 43 points for that? No. 8 range outwit. He rolls on to willpower. He never goes below an 8 attack. In fact, his highest attack is an 11.
Which is a second click.
And Drew, this sounds stupid. How could it be possibly better? And I would say he has Batman enemy.
So when you get on that 9 and 8 attack, you don't give a shit.
That's right, because
you put a 150-point dead shot next to him like I did, and you give him a 12 attack his entire dial.
Or you run multiple Holiday Killers together and just take the best of them.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hey, buddy, you got an 11 attack? Let me borrow that.
Now, you might be saying, okay, so I'm looking to pay, what, 70, 80 points? 70, 80 points? Yeah.
For stealth, outwit, willpower, 8 range, and a good team ability? A good 65, 70 points.
70 points?
Yeah.
43.
43.
That's like 50% off.
43.
Was Thanksgiving yesterday or something?
I don't know.
Is this Black Friday?
This is Black Friday Holiday Killer. So do yourselves a favor, and my God, go buy yourself a Holiday Killer.
Is Black Friday a holiday he kills on?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Because they're all grouped up. I'm just saying, if you're going to be a killer on the holiday, this is a pretty damn good choice.
Black Friday is when he goes out shopping to get the things. You know,
he kills Serenith on the other
to kill everyone for Christmas, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I've run this bastard probably 5 times now. He's good for filling out. He's got Gotham City, which is great for police teams. Yes. And there's some good pieces that have calculator with Gotham City. Like, you see a lot of good calculator.
One of my favorite teams is a Gotham City theme team with Holiday Killer. A piece that I might talk about eventually, Question from Arkham Asylum, and the Clown Prince of Crime himself.
The Clown Prince of Crime?
Yeah.
The Clown Prince of Crime himself. The Clown Prince of Crime.
That's right.
Alright, moving on to the main topic. Main topic today is, as I said earlier, the player's guide. We're going to recap the main things that are revealed in it, and read how it works, explain further if it needs it, and then talk about whether we think it's a good change or not, bad change or not. We're going to start with section 1. Let me find it here. Alright, so first, support. They have clarified support. Basically, the way support used to always work is if you crit missed, you deal 1 damage to the figure that you were trying to heal. If you crit hit, you did 1 extra damage on the figure that you're trying to heal. Problem was when they updated 2013 PAC, they modified the wording a little bit, and on that it got lost in translation, and basically nothing happened whenever you crit missed or crit hit. So they have basically worded it, and now you do in fact do heal +1 and -1 whenever you crit, miss, or hit.
So now we go back to Bad Doctor, which is my favorite thing, because nothing in a game is funnier than when someone's trying to support their piece on its very last click and crit missing and uses the defibrillator wrong and electrocutes them to death.
It's
like, that's what I picture every damn time. Well, and it means Donald Blake is a little less of a douche nozzle.
Yeah, but if he crit hits, he's a bit more of a douche nozzle.
I think he's just generally a douche nozzle. What do you think, Drewster?
I think Bruce Wayne.
Oh yeah, the freaking Hush Bruce Wayne is a douche nozzle too.
Yeah, I had to play him today, and we had a choice of going after him, focusing on him, and killing him, or going after Flash. I was like, no, you have to kill this Bruce Wayne.
You don't understand.
He has support, and it's a damn good support.
See, when I played with the guy that was playing him, he was the guy that was running Silver Samurai too, and then I had Donald Blake as well, so we're just like, medics.
It was stupid.
It was great. Oh no, my piece is low. Why don't I just double support him?
I beat the shit out of that Silver Samurai.
Anyway.
Okay, next, and I like we said, we like that. It's a more flavorful way to do it, and to add some risk to it. Good and bad.
I want a good crit miss, crit hit mind control. Like, I feel like
I don't.
I think mind control. It would be cool as if you crit hit with a mind control, you could choose a combat value to modify by 1 for the mind control.
I think there's already too much shit going on with mind control
I
rules
agree.
as it is. Okay, next up, -1 damage after each attack resolves has been officially added. Something we already knew was going to happen. We talked about before.
We've been playing with it since January.
It's a good idea overall. The only innocent people who are hurt by this are older figures who have ranged flurry
Yeah.
type attacks like
Hitman.
Red Arrow and like Hitman and like Sergeant Gordon
Grifter.
from Dark Knight Rises, Grifter, people
Yeah.
like that who
Aw,
aren't.
Grifter's not
Two
as
Gun
good.
Kid from Avengers.
They're not
Okay.
problem
Rest in
pieces.
If a character has 2 guns, it's likely they got hit by this.
I like it overall. It's not going to affect
I'm just saying
multi-attack or duo attack. It's not going to affect flurry because of specific wording on those powers. It's just going to affect people mainly from mind control, friendly mind controls like with Mole Man or team bases and things of that nature. So overall, I like it a lot. I think it's a good idea in addition to the game.
And then they modified multi-attack and duo attack to specifically remove the wording on. They no longer have the damage penalty listed. It just they're subject to the new rule.
Let me see. All right, next up, team bases. Working together, solo adventure, and team coordination all got their new things added. Specifically, I want to talk about solo adventure, and they let's just read it. Give this character power action, remove any team member from the team, and insert it to its switch clicks. The character is placed adjacent to a team on a switch click space. Turn to its first click with a click number color that matches the team's current click number. If removing the team member from the team would mean that the total point value of removed team members exceeds the point value of the team member can be removed, blah, blah, blah. Alright, when a removed character has multiple starting lines, its point value is considered to be the first printed starting line, other than an orange starting line preceding the clicks when it's placed on the map. Its actual starting line will be the click number on which the character entered play. Now, that last sentence is the one they added, and that's the one that's the most important, because this means you can no longer have a team base that started off at 300 and got knocked down to its 200, and when you pop off your Superman, instead of it, this is totally theoretical, but when you pop off your Superman, instead of starting at his 200 point dial, you would put him on his cheaper one, let's say his 100 point. And you used to be able to take that 100 point Superman and heal him back up to his 200 point. But with this new sentence on solo adventure, you treat that, when you pop them off the team base, you treat that starting click that you have to start them on as their starting click, which means you cannot heal them up through support or through steel energy or anything like that up past where they need to be. And that's good, because that was an exploit that was never meant to be the case anyways, and can get pretty silly pretty quickly.
And then on top of that, the fact that their very first like top line is considered their point value now. That means that when you score them for killing them, you get the full points for the entire thing now, right? So even if they come in on like one click before the end, they can't heal past that one click, but you score the entire thing.
Yep.
Working together got changed. You get one action for every 200 instead of 100. We talked about that. We think it's good.
It's good.
Other than that, team coordination, you get less of a bonus on prob control, or for theme team bonuses. We like that as well. Just because some of them getting like +7 to map roll for a
Justice
200
League.
point, or 300 point Justice League. It's just ridiculous. So those are all good changes. Vehicles cannot be assigned resources or relics. It's my understanding that they cannot even be on a team to where they would have to be assigned resources or relics.
Like the book.
Has
So
there been an official warrant ruling?
Yeah, I was reading in the forums. It's not here on the player's guide, and that's what I didn't like. Although it should be noted that this was written
a few
weeks ago. Yeah. It's not like it just came out the day. It was just written the day before they released it. It's been a couple things have changed since.
And there will be another update in July when they do the modern rotation too.
So it's my understanding that you can't have a vehicle on your team if you're running a resource that's assigned to the entire team. The only two being the Book of Skulls and the power plant. Other than that, you can have a Bat Belt or a Infinity Gauntlet or a Phoenix Force on your team as long as you don't assign it to the vehicle.
Also, vehicles can't be... Wasn't there something about like the size of characters that can pilot vehicles too?
The size must be the same size or less than the
vehicle. Wait, does that mean giants can be in the bug?
Yeah, that's
awesome.
the only one that anything bigger than normal can be in. We already covered that. This is the first time that keywords have really been added to figures, and that is the maximum carnage keyword got added on Web of Spider-Man, Carnage, and Doppelganger, which is really cool. And that's mainly because they added
it. I'm hoping it's a test thing to see to see how much this impacts things, and if players end up liking it, maybe they'll do it for some other figures too.
Static.
It's mainly because
Static's forever keywordless.
It's mainly because they added the maximum carnage ATA.
Yeah.
And had nobody to put it on.
Yeah, there's only like 2 people.
So, and those are 2 figures that, especially Carnage himself, that really deserve to have the keyword. They clarified that you cannot take double power actions after you get the bonus on the invisible jet. If nobody knows how the invisible jet works, I'll just kind of sum it up. As long as you have a certain pilot in there, you move the jet up, carry somebody with you, and then you give the person a free action afterward that you carried. What people would do would be Black Bolt Bomb, and they would carry their Black Bolt up with the jet, and then give him a free double power action pulse wave thing, and obliterate everybody and their mom on the map. And same with Barda. They used to do the same thing with Barda, and get her full map from that. And they finally clarified that you cannot do that after the jet. No double power actions. No penetrating on the cruiser's special ability. We already talked about that. We like that. Personally, I do. Don't you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batmite got the roll of 1 to 2.
Batmite's a 1 to 2. I don't know. I feel like that probably is all he needed. I guess only time will tell.
Well, we had 2 Batmites played today, and from what I heard, they did keep hitting them, so...
I don't know what you're talking about.
I smoked him the one time I played him. He didn't even get a chance to do it.
I got to do it twice, and I rolled 1s on both times.
Did you?
Yeah.
Even with prob, or can it not be rerolled?
I don't think it can be rerolled.
It might not.
And I was probably on outwit at the time.
So, but I just mean, and at this point, all we have to judge meta-wise really on right now are the ROC Super Qualifiers. And as of between now and Gen Con, I don't think I've seen a single Batmite on a top 16.
I haven't either. But it's funny because when we did the ROC stuff, that Batmite Superboy team was a pain. When Batmite hits the right rolls and everything, it hurts. Like that extra swing is enough for a big tentpole piece. Oh my gosh, it's painful.
So time will tell if that was a big enough, really, hindrance on him. It may have been. Initially, I thought it wasn't going to be enough. But we also have had a lot of pieces come out since then, too.
Yeah.
And so now we have bigger issues with Silver Centurion and all the bullshit that things brought up. And then no telling what Legion of Superheroes is going to bring with everything with Highfather and anything else. Like
Validus.
There's going to be enough stuff to...
Validus Meta 2014.
God, I'm so...
Hashtag.
I hope I pull Validus on Wednesday. I really do.
Gosh.
I will run rampant.
Shatterstar got changed. He can no longer... The person that he brings with him can no longer be given a non-free action afterwards.
Good change.
Good change overall. Doesn't really affect his... I mean, it makes him less broken, but still a pretty solid piece for his points. I mean, he still has, like, freaking flurry blades and stuff like that, so he's still a pretty good piece for his points. Alright, and then next is Hope Summers. Basically, all they did on Hope was just clarify, basically everything I was saying in the rules explanation video for her, that whenever she copies powers, that you just substitute her name in. So you say, instead of saying Thor can use Energy Explosion and Quake, you say Hope Summers can use Energy Explosion and Quake. And that even if those powers are lost after she has copied them, she can still use them until it's time to give her the free action and copy again. Hope's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool piece. Spiral's change we've talked about before. It's now officially in the player's guide. She now has the basically after place the gateway markers, you can't pass through them until the next turn. That she wasn't really affecting the meta a whole lot anyways because she's expensive, And now that she's been changed, she definitely isn't affecting them. Like, nobody's really
She
playing
was
her at all.
really annoying in the 500, 600 games, though.
Annoying, yes, but like game like breaking, no. But anyways, she got changed. We got the kind of nerf to Professor X Magneto duo.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, basically with Professor X Magneto duo, you used to be able to use mind control and then use Psychic Blast as a free action after that, and then use mind control again as a free action after that.
No. The smart person starts with Psychic Blast, then Mind Control, then
I
Psychic
know. I'm
Blast.
just giving an example. You can do one or the other, back and forth.
One will make you a terrible player, though.
Now they can only do one or the other. So once per turn is what they've added to it. Once per turn, when they hit with either one, after actions resolve, they may use the other as a free action. So you get them both, but you don't get to keep yo-yoing
Did
back
the
and
same
forth.
thing with Exodus, right?
Exodus isn't on here. I think his was worded okay to where they didn't need.
Oh, okay.
They didn't need to give him an official errata, but his does work the same way. Yes. They clarified on Iceman, and Iceman is one I don't really think we've talked about on the podcast.
We did actually the time that I played him.
Maybe a
on the
long
Defenders
time
team,
ago.
because he was problematic. He was highly problematic, actually.
So, this is from the Player's Guide. 066 Iceman. Glacial Wall reads, Iceman can use Barrier. When he does, after actions resolve, make a close combat attack targeting each opposing character adjacent to a marker that was just placed. Each hit character is given an action token and is dealt 1 damage for each action token it now has instead of normal damage. So
There's
the way
two
it was...
changes on that now.
What's up?
The other change is adjacent to each token just placed. The just placed wasn't on there before, because there was a little screw around people were trying to do where they were using other barriers.
Right, and then whenever
Trying to
his
punch
kicked
out
in, they could do it to everybody. And the way it was worded initially,
Was
he
no
would
instead.
do normal damage, and then he would then on top of that deal 1 damage for each action token. So
I mean, I for one find it hilarious there was an Iceman that was that broken for a short period of time.
yeah, I like this just because that the other way, the way it was initially worded,
Was
it
ridiculous.
yeah,
The
way
amount
too
of
good.
arguments over that was pretty crazy.
He's still a solid point
Oh,
piece
yeah.
for his points, and I do plan on trying him.
Anyone who
days.
can in-cap more than like that many people around corners and crap with barriers is crazy.
Lockheed, they officially said, has energy explosion, not pulse wave.
Aww.
So, but it makes sense for Lockheed.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense for him to have pulse wave.
Shh. That's not the point.
He spits fire, not giant mind-blowing
Beams.
bomb beam, whatever.
Bomb beams.
This
Some sort
is
of wave of pulses.
This is an interesting, and we talked about it last week. 201 Wolverine and pieces like him. Where, let's read the trait. Healing factor. At the beginning of your turn, Wolverine may activate regen as a free action. So now they have changed it to that wording where it says he may activate, so that it doesn't mess up the effects of, oh, I have regen on my dial and as a trait, well, I can't use it from the trait if it's on my, you know what I mean?
because it was kind of weird that it's like may use it at the beginning of your turn. Okay, so at the beginning of my turn I have regen, but may use is the normal wording for possesses and stuff like that, so it was just a mess.
Yeah, so this, and hopefully in the future when they make more pieces, they do that. They put
Activate's
may
a good one.
activate.
Because they need to do that for a lot of the Force Blast pieces too.
Silver Centurion. Now, Silver Centurion is a
It's a rules
judge's
cluster
nightmare.
club.
He's my nightmare. I'm working on him for our next rules explanation video right now, and he is the biggest pain in the butt. There's so many confusing things. Here's one major change they made to Silver Centurion, though. The rest of it I will carry. Actually, I'm not even going to read off this player's guide because things have been changed on him since this player's guide was drawn up. Basically, I'll go over the gist of Silver Centurion. The changes, that is. Silver Centurion, you give him a power action, you place his torpedo next to him. Each turn, you can put a counter on the card, give Iron Man or Silver Centurion a free action, put a counter on the card, and you may move the torpedo that many squares,
Did
however
they
many
change it
counters
to
it
May?
has. It's always been May.
It is?
Yeah, it's always been May. Now, let me pull it up here just so we can read the official wording on it. Alright, this is what his card says. Once per game, give him a power action to put a torpedo special terrain marker on the map in an adjacent square. When the torpedo is on the map, you may give him a free action, put an acceleration token on his card, and then move the torpedo equal to the number of accelerations on this card, tokens on this card, as if it were a character with a wing symbol. Ignore characters. At the beginning or end of your turn, if the marker square is occupied by an opposing character, you must remove the marker from the map and make a close combat attack roll against that character with an attack value of 11, damage value of 7. So here's the important things to note, the answers to the big questions that everybody always asks. Who's making the attack? Silver Centurion is not making the attack.
Oh, they changed that?
The torpedo is making the attack. Okay, so that's number one. So prob to it, anything like that, needs to be to the actual torpedo. Not actually, you can't prob it, by the way.
Because you can't target a
it's not a character. It's a terrain marker. So the terrain marker is what's making the attack. That's good and bad. If you're playing Silver Centurion, it's good because
if you hit the roll,
it's good because if you crit miss, Silver Centurion's not taking damage. If you hit Mystic, Silver Centurion's not taking damage. It's bad because you can't empower it, you can't perplex it, you can't use precision strike on top of whatever powers, other stuff like that. So that's one thing, that the token is making the attack, and that nobody can prob it because there's no character to draw a line of fire to. Other than that, you can, at the beginning of your turn, if you are the controller of Silver Centurion, if I'm using it and Drew moves his Sabertooth and Trenchcoat up on top of the torpedo, I can, in fact, choose to free action move it instead of having to blow it up. They reiterated that.
Ooh.
And this is a piece that has so many rules questions that they had to go to the designers and say, what the hell did you mean to do with this? Because this is the biggest cluster F piece that you've made in a long time.
Cluster cloak.
So that's another thing that people always ask me is, can I move it? Yes, you can, in fact, move it. Other than that, everything else... Oh, and after you make an attack with the torpedo, you have to remove those counters from the card. Mm-hmm. That's only going to take place if you somehow created another torpedo from mind controlling either friendly or opposing. Otherwise, that's the only thing that's going to matter.
Oh, the madness!
And I definitely don't want to get into that on the podcast.
We'll be here another hour and a half.
The rest of that will be on the YouTube channel. If you have any other Silver Centurion questions, just email me or wait for the video that I put out.
I just love that. If you have any more Silver Centurion questions.
M10009 Iron Man. This is actually something I found funny. They changed his wording to say when he takes damage from another character assigned a resource or relic, then he has to roll his trait. And that's because the way it was worded, if he had a resource or relic and he crit missed, or... then he had to roll for hitting.
Yeah, because if he had energy explosion, there's a common one where if he had energy explosion and he shot someone at point blank or something and splashed himself with it, he would have to roll the thing if he had a resource.
Oh my god!
I thought that was pretty funny.
Why are all these Iron Mans such a mess?
Also, something I noticed on the Amazing Spider-Man and Friends team base. It doesn't have a WizKids number. Its number is number T300. Just thought that was interesting because we were talking about that the other day. Remember, Austin?
Wait, oh yeah, it doesn't have the WizKids?
Its number is T300. That's all it says on the
so it's... Guide. Well, you know what? I think... What's Trinity of Sins?
It's WK... I'll pull it up here.
It's right there.
It's D-T001. Ooh, wait a minute now. Oh wait, Spidey's T300. So yeah, it may... Basically, we don't know. Because all of the team bases are T something, something, something.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I just thought that was worth noting since we've been talking about it. Here's for Hire got its change. We all knew about that. Instead of taking any action now, they can only take an attack with their free thing. So that keeps you from... buffing the crap out of them and then, doing multiple flurries and shit like that. Utility belt got its change. That's one thing we talked about before we really liked.
Anytime you make an attack now, you have to roll it.
Yeah, and prep time, you cannot go onto anything that has a +1 or a +2.
Is it after actions resolve you have to roll it? Or is it... So if I flurry, will I roll it after each flurry, or will I...
No, it's at the end of your turn.
Oh, at the end of your turn, sorry.
Yeah, the problem was Heroes for Hire was a free action.
So you could flurry... Or
You
could
could
Heroes
be
for
on
Hire, stay on
+2s,
it,
Heroes for Hire, and stay on it. Yeah. But now with the changes, you have to roll it. And they buffed Shark Repellent. I thought that was funny.
I thought that was funny.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
So basically, instead of just affecting the swimmers, it's anybody with the animal keyword now, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the relic side that they changed, isn't it?
Let me pull it up here.
Because I thought the relic side was different than the resource side. Because the resource side was the Force Blast on people with swim ability, and the relic side was the defense against people with Dolphin or Dolphin Transporter. Yeah.
Give this character a power action. I'll pull it up here while we're talking about it. So while I'm looking that up, let's move into community and keep this ball rolling. And for dial design, we're going to cover a featured dial. This week's assignment. Austin, you want to talk about this week's assignment and then our featured dial for this week?
This week's assignment was to make a tiny character. And a tiny character, some people asked us what we define that as, and I said, think about the bonuses. It's hard to hit with ranged fire, and when carried, it doesn't provide a penalty. So, like, there was a rocket raccoon in the dials and stuff like that. Like, there were small animals, which completely legit to me. I mean, like, that's really what I picture when I think of a tiny character, is someone like small animal or smaller, like, rides on somebody's shoulder without really stopping or slowing them down. We had a lot of really good dials submitted. There were some really interesting because we opened it up to other universes. We got a lot of mice-based characters. I mean, a lot of small rodents. Period. Between the raccoons, we got Chippendale in there. We got Mighty Mouse. We got Jerry from Tom and Jerry. I mean, you guys really went cartoon crazy this week.
Our one, not necessarily the highest scoring because we don't do scores until tomorrow, but one dial that kind of caught our eye that we wanted to do for dial design is from Sapphire Shadow, and it is Chippendale from Rescue Rangers from Boom Studios Comics. And I just thought it was pretty solid submission, but also really funny.
I think the trait's what sold it for me.
55 points, Chippendale duo and tiny size. Team ability is Rescue Rangers. Keywords Rescue Rangers, Detective, and Animal. Improved movement, ignores hindering, blocking, and elevated for movement. They have 3 traits. No case too big. When they target a character with giant or colossal, they get +2 attack and precision strike. That's pretty cool.
Dang, for a 55-point piece.
No case too small. Chippendale modify all adjacent pieces with kid or teen keywords defense +1. That's awesome. And a lot of his stuff builds around teen or kid, which is really cool. And makes total sense for the characters. And then the last trait, probably will be the best power this week. Disney Afternoon. Both players learn a life lesson at the end of each match.
See, and this is kind of funny to me because, like, I kind of hope WizKids does some more fun ones. Like, if they do a Shazam piece, I want a Shazam piece that when you alter ego it, you have to verbally say Shazam. Or something like that would be hilarious for them to do.
So, top click, they have charge and end cap, and then they get a special defense power. When you need help, just call. Chippendale can use empower and enhancement on adjacent pieces with kid, teen, and rescue rangers keywords. And special damage power, founding rescue rangers. Chippendale can use leadership. When they do, all characters sharing a keyword with them are considered to be of a lesser point value. Second click, they have charge and a special attack ability called Chocolate with a bunch of exclamation points. They can use blades and precision strike when they successfully hit and roll doubles. After actions resolve, heal them of 1 damage. That's from when they always freak out whenever they finally get candy or something. And then their third click, they get a stop click. When turning the dial, if this click is removed due to damage taken from an opposing attack, stop turning the dial. Immediately give Chippendale a free action. Oh, and it's called Is Not Is To, so it's like they're arguing, which they always do on the show and in the comics. Split them into figures with qualifying names and equal or lesser point values, same number of clicks from their starting line. These figures modify attack +1 and defense -1. They may be merged again at the end of your next turn with +1 to all values. So they kind of break up, they get in an argument, they break up, And then if you want to get them back together and make them reconcile, then they get stronger when they get back together, which is kind of cool. I just really liked it. Full of tons of flavor.
It's amazing.
It's just a funny dial. Like
he created a team ability, the Rescue Ranger team ability 2. Characters using this TA can use stealth, but only in printed hindering terrain.
Which is a pretty good TA.
So I thought that was very clever dial and really cool powers and just an overall good submission. So that's our submission of the week this week. No news on best build right now. YouTube channel wise, I put a starter review for the Yu-Gi-Oh set on there. Drew was nice enough to loan me his Yu-Gi-Oh starter set.
Yeah.
And I go through each figure, review it, talk about its dial, how good it is, how bad it is for the Silver Age, since these are Silver Age pieces, and kind of give them scores. And then I display the maps, which I really do like the map in there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can check that out. All right, next, let's move into the comics section where we're going to talk about Black Widow. Now, this is a relaunch. This is a launch that started with the Marvel Now titles just a few weeks ago. It's written by Nathan Edmondson, who wrote New 52 Grifter.
Really?
Yes, and Grifter started out okay.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
The first arc I actually liked of Grifter, and then after that, it got
It went really
crappy.
downhill.
He is doing now Black Widow, and he's doing now Punisher, which I don't know if you guys have read yet, but is actually pretty decent so far. So he's got 2 new Marvel Now books he's starting to write. He's doing a pretty good job on both of them. And then Phil Noto is the artist, and he did a lot of Jonah Hex from one of my favorite. Drew's a big Constantine, big Hellblazer fan. I was always a big Jonah Hex fan, especially right before New 52.
Yeah.
Right before New 52, Jonah Hex was like perfect because each issue it would restart. Jimmy Gray and Palmiotti, like they had the book down, and Phil Noto would come in and guest star whenever they needed somebody, and he would do the art, and he was awesome. He also did some art on Remender's Uncanny X-Force. Yeah. And what stands out to me about this book is the art.
The art's great. I mean, like, that's been the one thing that kind of hooked me on it, really, was I like the plot lines. Like, they're interesting, but they're not like, oh my gosh, can't wait for the next issue. But the artwork's just great. Like, the scenery of the different cities and all the missions she's on, they do a really good job of, like, the backdrops and everything.
I think it's very, it's a little watercolory.
Yeah, definitely.
But very pretty. Very, really well done. You can leave that open, Austin. Just a well done overall book. The writing, I feel, is just basically mediocre.
It's okay.
It's not bad. It's not good. It's okay. It does good enough. But I feel like the art takes the book from an average book to a good book is what the art does for me. The reason I say the writing is nothing special is, like I said, it's not because it's bad. It's just that it just does the basic Black Widow formula. It's, hey, Black Widow gets a mission, goes on it, takes care of business. You learn a little bit of character development about her, because there is a little bit of character development. Some of it has to do with the cat and like her wanting to be independent, not have people depend on her.
Yeah.
And her kind of insecurities with the fact that
she can't be in one place or else someone will find her.
Yeah, and like also it's starting to slowly character develop where I feel like she feels insecure because she's done so many bad things in her past, and she feels remorse over them, but at the same time, she keeps on doing what she's doing, and what she's doing now is kind of like trying to right her wrongs in the past. I wish they would dive a little deeper into that aspect of the book and write some good stories and character development.
You know who I really like so far in that book? I like her lawyer/mission guy.
Yeah, he is pretty funny.
He's pretty badass, too. Basically, the thing is, it's like they always talk about like she has a web of things that she's funneling money into, and that's what her missions are for. And they mention safe houses, but they don't say what else she's paying off. And so like it's heavily implied like she has old Russian contacts or something that are after her or something. And I feel like that's what it's building to, is that she's trying to like seal the deal, so to speak, with some old things, just close old books and stuff like that.
And that's, again, part of the whole, I feel remorse for the old me and the old things I did, and now I'm trying to make up for it. So, as long as they dive into that, and maybe they're starting out simple because they don't want to scare people off. They want this to be a book that everybody can pick up and learn a little bit about Black Widow. With the movies, the Avengers movie coming out,
and
with
possibly a Black Widow
with
movie.
Winter Soldier coming out, with maybe a Black Widow movie, and then the next Avengers book. I feel like they're doing a good job of doing exactly what they probably have planned. Let's take Black Widow, let's give her own book, let's keep it pretty safe in the creativity department. Just make a solid book for people who aren't interested, who haven't read much Black Widow and want to get a taste of what she's like. Let's give them that. And I feel like that's what this book does. I feel like if you're a diehard Black Widow fan, the few of them that there are out there, I feel like you're going to read this and be like, like whatever. I've read way better Black Widow books. But if you're a person who has absolutely nothing to do with Black Widow but have a little bit of interest in it, or just are looking for a decent, solid book to pick up, then I feel like this is a good book to pick up. It's not... It's a very approachable book, basically, I guess is where I'm going with that.
Yeah, I don't know. My issue with Black Widow is they always talk about red in the ledger, and all this stuff like that, and that term comes up so much with her. I'm kind of hoping they explore some of the things she's done, though, in the past.
That's what I'm saying. I hope it dives deeper. And maybe they're going...
I want to see some atrocities or horror. I want to know what makes her so insecure crazy, because they haven't really... Did she blow up an orphanage at some point or whatever?
Maybe, and hopefully they do, because it might just be starting off safely right now just to get the ball rolling, and then they'll delve into more crazy stuff. So, who knows? Anyways, so if that's our recommendation. If you guys are interested in Black Widow at all, then be sure to check that out. Thanks for tuning in this week. Next week we'll be talking about Superman Legion of Superheroes Sealed, and giving advice and going over the pieces and which ones are the ones we think you should get excited for when you see. Sneak peek from Drew. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dial H For Heroclix. And also be sure to send us emails at gmail.com or on our Facebook page. You can PM us there and chat with the other Dial H members. We have little chats from time to time about comics and stuff.
Yeah, we'll chat.
So, until next week, this has been Honor, Drew, and Austin, signing off.
See ya.